Yes, I'm happy to see all of you again. I'm so excited to see all of you again. And for people who doesn't know what's happened, we didn't have sound, and right now we will have sound for our video. And I want to remind to you what we will do today. We will watch video about Chile, history, geography, economy, and culture of Chile. I already checked today population of Chile. At this moment on 2024, population of Chile 19.5 millions of people. Also, we know that Chile had elections in 2021, and it was I showed already you what kind of results of election we can find. Example, we can see that yes, population by Google 19.5 million 2021 elections. We can see red, it was from Boric results, cast it is from has blue color. We were using Wikipedia website. Here you can see their photos, and Gabriel Boric from social governance, and from Jose Antonio Cast, he's from Republican Party. Yes, and we also found out that Chile has also national alcohol, which is named Pisco, and you can see such amazing photos of this like Pisco. I say that it reminds me a little bit huge big carrots. And yes, at this moment, if yes, hello to Emma, hello to you again, hello to Sam Smith Q, I'm sure you will be here too, and hello to everyone who is joined right now. Sorry for this inconvenience, how we started this live stream. But let's start watching video about Chile itself. I'm sure it will be enjoyable, and at this moment I reload application, we will have sound for sure. Okay, let's go. It is amazing view. They have because they have mountains there. That's why they have snow there. That's why. Wow, I love this video. I love this video. It looks amazing. And look at this amazing view on this city. I need to find out capital of Chile. It looks like I must know about this when I'm talking about country. Chile capital. Santiago, also known as Santiago de Chile, is the capital and largest city of Chile, as well as one of the largest cities in the Americas. And the population of Santiago, we can see that it is quite big city, which has 6.8 million of people. Oh my gosh. And we can find even such amazing statistics which can show you population from 1950s to 24. This website which I'm using is Macro Trends. Yes, and the growth of population, like we can see 2% usually, and 1%, yeah, because city is bigger, yeah. Example, in 1953, population of Chile was 1.5 million people. Okay. By this prediction, in 2035, population of Chile will be 7.5 millions of people. It is nice. Okay, I love this music for sure. It is amazing music, and probably this is like view of capital. Alex, I see your message on Animaus. I don't know why, but we see a spinning wheel in the middle of the video, like it's pulling. It was just beginning of the video. Yeah. I love this view, laugh. Just laugh. Yeah, probably it is capital.
A land thousands of kilometers long, but less than 200 wide. Sandwiched between the largest ocean and longest range of mountains in the world, this country has the most extreme shape found anywhere. From the driest of deserts, through scrub, lush temperate rainforests, and finally tundra, this country has a geographic diversity to rival any. A fusion of many European cultures and those of the Native Americans, it has emerged from centuries of colonial isolation through independence and a brutal dictatorship to become the most prosperous of all South American nations. Only one country could fit this description. Only one country is Chile.
Yeah, it is amazing, and for me, as for Russian and for person who knows only pretty well, it is a authoritarian type of government. Here it is interesting story behind how they became more democratic. What's happened with them? What kind of decisions they did? How they were, what kind of policy they did for growing population, like, because we can see that demographic problem in Russia, it is huge problem. What they did for, what kind of programs exists in Chile for growing population. Yes, it is this kind of questions I hope I will find today. Answers. Beautiful video. Yeah, I love it.
Chile is the most southwesterly country in South America and is famous for its extreme dimensions, with the highest length to width ratio of any country. Traversing almost 40 degrees of latitude, the country is home to a diverse set of climates and biomes. In this presentation, I'll look first at Chile's history up to the present, its national organization and state structure and symbols, its physical and human geography, and lastly its economy and culture. If you like these country summary videos, then please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. The meaning of the name of the country is uncertain, but is almost certainly from a Native American word of either Quechua, Pichunche or Mapuche origin. It was first adopted by the Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century. Prior to the arrival of Europeans, the area of today's Chile was inhabited by a number of Native American tribes, the most notable being the Mapuche. The Inca Empire centered in today's
Mapuche. Let's look on them a little bit closer because it is always important to Mapuche, Chile. Mapuche, Chile. And we can find, of course, such. I'm always using Wikipedia. It is what you can find first. And Mapuche and Spanish is a group of native indigenous inhabitants of south central Chile and southwestern Argentina, including parts of Patagonia. The collective term refers to a wide-ranging ethnicity composed of various groups who share a common social, religious, and economic structure, as well as a common linguistic heritage as Mapudangan speakers. Okay, I hope that Mapuche women photo was made in 2015, 8 years ago. Okay, Mapuche, it is indigenous people, the indigenous people of Chile, and here we can see even map in this video they're showing us. It was like central of Chile they're located. Tupac, Inca, quite difficult, yeah, Inca too, we can find them.
Today's Peru had been expanding south for several centuries, all the way up to the arrival of the Spanish. But their progress beyond the Central Valley of Chile was blocked by the Mapuche tribes, who were able to resist the Incas despite the latter being much more highly centralized as a nation. The Spanish arrived in the region in the 1530s, and the fertile valley at the center of today's country was chosen as the core of the new colony, with its capital Santiago founded in 1541. The power of the Mapuche was not to be underestimated even against Europeans, however, as the Spanish conquest faced repeated setbacks as a result of native attacks continuing until the end of that century. It wouldn't be until the 19th century that the tribes were finally subjugated. Isolated from the rest of South America by the Atacama Desert in the north, the Andes all along the east, and from the mother country Spain due to its Pacific orientation beyond the Straits of Magellan, the Chilean colony became the most self-sufficient and autonomous of all Spanish possessions in the Americas for the next few centuries. The Napoleonic Wars of Europe that began at the end of the 18th century saw
government under traditional Spanish law, we can see this, right? Loyal to Supreme Central Junta of Courts. Okay, I want to know what kind of language is official in Chile now, because I do not know. Looks like Spanish for me, but I can be pretty easily wrong. Official language in Chile. Spanish. I was Chilean Spanish, we can see. It is like dialect. Andalusian. I hope I said this correctly. Spanish. Spanish is the de facto official and administrative language of Chile. It is spoken by 99.3% of the population in the form of Chilean Spanish, as well as Andean Spanish and Chilean Catalan. Spanish in Chile is also mentioned as Castellana, okay.
Spain becoming a puppet regime of the French. Seeing this weakness, local elites saw an opportunity to wrest control of the colony from Spain, as did all the other colonies within the Spanish-American Empire at that time. Initially, these elites were resisting the French puppet king, Napoleon's brother Joseph, and supportive of the deposed king's heir. But as events across South America progressed, with many nations now proclaiming full independence from Spain, it was inevitable that Chile would follow suit, and so in 1818, after a prolonged struggle with Spain, and despite disputes between the key patriots of Carrera and O'Higgins, Chile was proclaimed an independent republic. Unlike the United States of America's War of Independence against the British, that saw a genuine revolution in favor of the rights and opportunities of the lower classes, Chile's independence saw little change in the fortunes of the majority, with the land-owning elites maintaining political control of the country. In this regard, it was similar to most of Latin America at that time. As the 19th century progressed, Chile sought to expand its territory. The Mapuche to the south were finally incorporated in a 20-year campaign that ended in 1883, while the Chilean Navy, the most powerful in South America, allowed the country to dominate the southeastern Pacific. To the north, Bolivia had control of the Atacama.
We can see here interesting map. Yes, which is separate, like parallel 23 claimed by Manuel Bulnes in 1842, Atacama dispute from 1825 to 1879, and we can see how Chile was. It is kind of map of power, like who controlled this or that territory. Okay. Yeah.
Atacama region through to the coast, while Peru was Chile's greatest rival over dominance of the Pacific. Matters in this region came to a head in the War of the Pacific of 1879 to 83, with Chile's military on land and sea showing its superiority, defeating both Peru and Bolivia to take control of the Atacama and its rich mineral deposits, and more or less establishing the borders of today. Bolivia's loss of access to the Pacific resulted in it becoming a landlocked country and would seriously impact that nation's future development. Due to its isolation beyond the Straits of Magellan, Chile did not witness the mass immigration from Europe that other nations such as Brazil and Argentina experienced.
I want to tell you one of the things. As Russian, we do not study so much about Chile, at least where I was living in far east of Russia. People usually were studying, at least when I was at school, in far east of Russia, in Primorsky region, Primorsky Krai. It was more about European history and world history. History of Russian Empire, Soviet Union, and also about modern a little bit Russia. Well, like, but we did, when I was studying, we didn't study little like about modern Russia so much because it was in 2000s when I was studying at school. Right now they're teaching, sorry for me to tell this, more about like propaganda stuff at schools for Russian students. But yeah, that's why for me it is unknown territory where every word is new word for me. About even word Chile sounds in my mind more exotic, something something that like people do not talk so much because it is so far away from Russia, and it is like Chile. What? Like you can find some countries in Russia where which people talking more, and some countries in Russian society, they're talking less. And Chile is one of those countries about which people do not talk so much. Yes. Yeah, at least in my from region where I came from. Okay, and yes, I also like these old photos. They giving this vibe. It is, oh wow, I love these like old footages, old videos. It is amazing.
Experienced in the latter half of the 19th and early 20th centuries. However, it is notable that a significant settlement of Germans in the south of the country occurred at this time, and these immigrants would go on to influence the country through their organization and training of the army. Trade was chiefly with Britain during this time, and shared knowledge with that country helped to strengthen the Chilean navy, while the boom in saltpeter mining in the north of the country had many British backers. The French immigrants influenced much of the architectural styles of the buildings of the capital, while the earlier immigration of Basques was significant, resulting in 27% of Chilean surnames being of Basque origin at the end of the 18th century. The 20th century saw Chile stabilize its geographic and economic position, while politically the growing middle and lower classes gained more influence, reducing the power of the landowning classes that had dominated for centuries prior. Apart from a period of dictatorship in the 1920s, there were democratically elected governments during this time. However, as socialist parties grew in power in the 1960s, a period of political polarization that had tragic consequences unfolded. The socialist Salvador Allende was elected president in 1970 and introduced a series of radical socialist programs that led to an economic crisis.
Chile real wages between 1967 and 1977. Wages. Let's look GDP. Let's look. Oh gosh. We can see a very interesting thing. Since Chile became, we are using the website Data World Bank. This website for looking for GDP. And what we can find out here that since Chile became a democratic country, GDP of Chile was increasing like exponentially, especially after 2000s. We can see it was huge growth, and at this moment in 2022 GDP in Chile $15,000 per capita. It is close to GDP to Russian GDP, because we were looking before, like, but Chile doesn't have so much resources as Russia has, and for such small country, such growth, I believe it is already something, because we can see in 1960s GDP of Chile was $500. Let's look example for Russia, because I want to GDP Russia, just because I want to. Yes, we can see Russian Federation even like was worse in GDP of Russia was worse than GDP in Chile. But we can see that population of Russia like much bigger Russia by population, and Russia has much more, how would say, resources, natural resources. Why this happened? I think it is not necessary to explain. At this moment, we can see Chile 15,000 2022, Russia 15,000, quite close. Even GDP Chile even bigger on $100. Welcome. I mean, like, gosh, I mean, it is amazing. Like for such a small country, they're growing amazing, and population probably, like we can see, Chile has better demographic situation than Russia. Wow, I like these statistics.
Crisis and protests from foreign investors at the threat of nationalization of key industries, including the important copper mines. President Nixon of the United States then authorized the CIA to infiltrate the country in an attempt to destabilize the government with the intent of removing Allende from office and replacing him with someone more favorable to their interests, much in the way that they had done in Iran in 1953 and more recently in Ukraine in 2014. The US got what they wanted. In 1973, Allende was ousted and killed. The coup was led by General Augusto Pinochet, commander-in-chief of the armed forces at that time. The coup was the beginning of 17 years of rule by Pinochet, in which the economy was stabilized and then grew, but at the cost of serious abuses in human rights. Upwards of 40,000 dissidents were rounded up, imprisoned, tortured, or disappeared. Despite honoring the result of a referendum in 1990 to resign as the country's head, he continued to influence Chilean politics up until his death in 2006. To this day, he remains one of the most notorious dictators in recent global history. The country transitioned from dictatorship to democracy between 1990 and 94, with governments being democratically elected since, although the relationship between populace and government continues to be tense until this day. A series of nationwide protests occurred between 2019 and 2020, while an attempt to revise the 1980 constitution, which among other matters would remove some of the undemocratic aspects of the Pinochet era, was over.
I want to look, yes, we can see 2022 new constitution referendum results. Rechazo, reject and approve, approve. Okay.
Overwhelmingly rejected by the populace in a referendum just a few months ago, as it was seen to be too radical. Chile has a bicameral Congress composed of a 50-seat Senate and a 155-member Chamber of Deputies. Senators are elected for 8-year terms, while deputies are elected every 4 years, in a system similar to proportional representation.
And it is interesting that if we will look flag of Chile and flag of Texas, let's look. And flag of Texas. You can see this interesting footage of photo. The two flags are nearly identical. The only difference is being the location of their lone white star. Yes, lone white star, like, okay. The blue field where the star rests of the Chilean flag is square-shaped, but the blue section on the Texas flag extends to the bottom to form a rectangle. We can see this photo. as example. And also you can see these colors and symbolism. History of the flags of Chile. Yeah, of course they're different, but it reminds completely something like when you're looking like, wow, it reminds me of flag of Texas. Interesting. I need to look a little bit more about this in future.
The Congress is situated in the port of Valparaiso and not the capital, Santiago. The head of state is the president, elected directly by the public to serve a 4-year term. The office can only be filled by the same person twice, but not across 2 consecutive terms. In the latest Cato Institute's Human Freedom Index, compiled from data up to 2019, the transition to accountable rule following the Pinochet years is confirmed, with Chile being the highest ranked in Latin America for both economic and personal freedom, and a respectable ranking of 28th most free country globally. Chile is a unitary state, with the central government determining law throughout the country. For the purposes of administration, the country is divided into 16 regions, which are further split into 56 provinces, the equivalent of counties, and 348 communes, which are the equivalent of municipalities. The Chilean national flag is composed of white and red bands with a single star centered in a blue field top left. Blue represents the sky, white the snow of the Andes, red the blood spilled to achieve independence.
Red blood represents blood for independence, which people spilled. Blue sky and white. Let's release.
Are centered in a blue field top left. 48 communes, which are the equivalent of municipalities. The Chilean national flag is composed of white and red bands with a single star centered in a blue field top left. Blue represents the sky, white the snow of the Andes,
Snow.
red the blood spilled to achieve independence, and the star to symbolize progress and honor.
Progress and
The flag was adopted in 1817, 21 years prior to the well-known flag of Texas.
Yeah, they decided to show flag of Texas, but because I'm here, maybe I will move myself for a couple seconds and you will be able to compare to. Yes, looks a little, how say, not a little bit, but close. Like, I didn't know this. I didn't know.
To which it has great similarity.
Yeah.
The coat of arms contains the colors and elements of the flag in a central shield, supported by a South Andean deer known as a huemal, and a condor, the world's largest flying bird with a range throughout the Andes. The motto translated means by reason or by force.
Thinking about going solar, but not sure
Very interesting video for sure. And today definitely can find out a lot of interesting information and useful information for a person who is trying to understand a little bit more about political science. And obviously shape geography of Chile, it is also one of the site which is you're asking questions why, like when you're looking on map, you like how it's happened, and I hope that in this, yeah, we already know that a little bit about position, like geographical position of Chile. And yeah, right now they will talk about geographical position. It is amazing. Like they're reading my mind.
Chile is one of the most remarkable countries in the world geographically. As any child who begins to study geography through an atlas knows, one of the first things they'll notice is that almost impossibly thin-looking country hanging on to most of the western edge of South America. Chile is second only to Brazil as the tallest of all countries, with a north-south extent of 4,300 kilometers.
Or 2.6 67,000 miles. Okay, 4,300 kilometers. Quite huge, what can I tell? Quite tall. Yeah.
But sandwiched in a narrow coastal strip between the Andes Mountains and the Pacific Ocean, Chile is comparatively extremely narrow, with an
What?
average width of only 175 kilometers. Such an extremity of dimension can be seen when one considers the time it would take to traverse the country. Traveling east-west at its widest point in the northern Atacama, the journey of 469 kilometers would take only around 6 hours by road. In contrast, the 4,000-kilometer-plus road journey from the extreme north to as far as one could travel in the south, which is still not the bottom of Chile, would take over a week if traveling 8 hours a day.
You can see how interesting geographical position of Chile. Maximum 6 hours, like 6.5 from you will drive just to see ocean. Every person in Chile looks like they everyone looks close to ocean. Like it is interesting. And there I believe naturally, obviously, we can find mountains. Wow.
Why is this country so long and thin? Well, there are two reasons. The first is the Andes mountain range. It is the longest and second highest in the world, and so historically prior to air travel, crossing these mountains was difficult, with the consequence of a lack of ability of a government to project power over such a range. For most of their length, only Argentina offers a rival power, and in that country most of the population was focused in the north, with the south, that is Patagonia, being a largely uninhabited and frigid desert. In the north, where Chile borders with Peru and Bolivia, the mountains are not as steep, and so this was more of a contentious area for claims of sovereignty between these countries, as we saw in the section on history.
And these mountains.
The second reason is the proximity of the Pacific Ocean to the mountains. Prior to air travel, the quickest and most efficient way of transporting goods and people was by ship, and so Chile, with access to thousands of kilometers of coast, was easily able to project its power north and south through its navy and commercial fleet. Crossing the Andes, by comparison, was a Herculean task, and so we have the extremely long and narrow country of today as a result. The reason for such a long chain of mountains being right up against an ocean can be explained in geology. The Nazca tectonic plate, expanding outwards, hits the South American plate, and at this boundary is pushed down under it in a process known as subduction. This process has been going on for millions of years, and over such time has led to the buckling of the South American plate, as well as the formation of volcanoes to create the Andes Mountains.
Yes, subduction, we can see this process. How these mountains formed, if I'm correct. You can see Pacific Ocean and this mountains. I want to look highest, maybe he said, but I didn't hear. Andes Mountains, Chile. Andes Mountains. Highest we can see it is a mountain in Argentina. They have the highest point in the Andes Mountains is Mount Aconcagua, located in the southern Andes Mountains. It is Argentina. It is 22.8 thousand feet, or close to 7,000 meters. 7,000 meters. And it is the highest point in the Western Hemisphere. And here obviously we can see this mountain example national photo from National Geographic. Yes, it looks amazing, beautiful, and we can see that these mountains, they were formed for during thousands years because of this process, which is named subduction zone, ocean trench, subduction zone. How we can see we are formed by tectonic activity whereby Earth is uplifted as one plate ocean crust subducts under another plate continental crust. To get such a high mountain chain in a subduction zone setting is unusual, which adds to the importance of trying to figure out when and how it happened. Yes, we see this picture, that's what he was talking in our video, and we can see like educational videos on YouTube, how it was formed, if I believe correctly, and here we can see this amazing picture too. Yeah, it is nice to find out a little bit about Chile because it has direct impact on everything. I mean, like the way people live, geography means a lot. Like maybe everything. I don't know.
As the Nazca Plate is pushed down, it creates a deep ocean trench directly off the coast, and so in profile, the country of Chile consists of a deep ocean, coastline, a relatively low coastal range of mountains, a narrow plain, and then very tall mountains. But this geographic situation has another consequence, and that is heightened tectonic activity. Subduction zones have historically produced the largest earthquakes, and Chile being the site of a long and continuous subduction zone of
Yes, earthquakes in Chile. We can see this amazing. Let's look again. Earthquakes in Chile. Not Chile, in Chile. Chile. Biggest. 9.5. It was in 1960, May 22nd. A great earthquake, the largest earthquake ever instrumentally recorded. It was in Chile, occurred off the coast of southern Chile. This earthquake generated a tsunami that was destructive not only along the coast of Chile but also across the Pacific in Hawaii, Japan, and the Philippines. And we can find National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration government. They were talking about this. You can find this website pretty easily. And the number of fatalities in Chile associated with both the earthquake and tsunami has been estimated to be between 500 and 6,000. 2 million people were left homeless. 2 million people. Additional damage like $1 million. In Japan, almost a day after the earthquake, the tsunami caused 139 deaths and destroyed 3,000 homes. And we can see this amazing... Oh, it is big. Okay. We can see Chile tsunami, water weight observations. We can see how it was. They have tools to measure all this. And yeah,
The Nazca
it is sad, and that's why it is kind of interesting to find out what kind of how good they're building, how good standards they have in building buildings. I mean, like houses, apartments, and because we know in Japan pretty high standards. What about Chile? Hope they will tell a little bit.
under the South American plate accounts for a third of the 20 most powerful earthquakes in history.
I
The
thought
Valdivia earthquake of 1960 in the southern part of Chile was estimated to be as high as 9.6 on the Richter scale and is the largest to have ever been recorded anywhere. As well as causing thousands of fatalities within the region from the shaking and resultant tsunami, that wave traveled across the Pacific, devastating the city of Hilo in Hawaii and killing 61
Hawaii.
people there, and reached as far as Japan, where fatalities were also reported. Subduction zones also produce volcanoes, and Chile is home to 19 active mounts, with the most occurring in the south of the country. Spanning 4,300 kilometers north to south, Chile covers a remarkable band of latitudes from 17 degrees south of the equator at its top to 56 degrees south at its base. Consequently, a wide number of climate zones and resultant biomes are found in the country. In the far north, we have the driest of all deserts, the Atacama. The rainfall is so low here that some weather stations have not reported rain falling.
let's look a little bit about deserts in Chile. Oops. You can find TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor, interesting. It is American probably company. And we can see they're advising you to visit. First, it is Atacama Desert. Second, it is Deserto, Florida. Third, Puto Sound Dunes. Number 4, Parque National Cellar del Huasco. So many deserts, gosh. Let's look biggest desert. In Chile. Desert. And we can see Atacama Desert. Atacama Desert, it is biggest desert in Chile. 41,000 square miles or 105 square miles. Biggest desert in Chile. Atacama. Yeah, and here we can see by NASA World Wind this footage, how it looks from the space. Wow, I like this footage. I like this footage for sure. And yeah, let's go.
For 25 years or more. There are two reasons why this area is so dry. The first of these is that the Andes Mountains, rising above 6,300 meters to the east, block almost all the moist trade winds that blow down in a southwesterly direction from the equator during summer. In the absence of these mountains, the northern region of Chile would have experienced a rainy season during the summer, typical of such a latitude, but the Andes prevent this wet season. The second factor is the presence of the Humboldt Ocean Current, which brings cold water up from the mid-latitudes of the Pacific all the way to the equator via the coast of Chile and Peru. The presence of this cold ocean means that any winds blowing in from the Pacific have little moisture, and moving on to warmer land, any moisture is retained in the warming air as vapor. As we move south, it takes a considerable distance before we encounter any noticeable rain in the central part of Chile. Here we find a Mediterranean climate of warm dry summers and wet winters.
Yeah, in Santiago, temperature range. And you can see this footage, precipitation and temperature range. Like, yeah, it is nice to see this. Like average maybe temperature will be 70 Fahrenheit. It looks like this, 70. Maybe, yeah.
All the rain comes off the Pacific through winter westerly winds and storms as a result of the northward drift of high pressure over the ocean. In summertime, the high pressure travels south, blocking any depressions and keeping the area dry. This Mediterranean climate produces scrub-like conditions as a natural biome, but in the highly densely populated region is now mostly given over to productive farmland.
Yeah, it is
Since
interesting.
2010, there has been an exceptional drought affecting much of Chile, but particularly in this densely populated central zone. A persistent high pressure over the eastern Pacific for the last decade has reduced normal annual rain by as much as 80% in some areas. As we continue south, the summer high pressure zones lose their influence, and so rain is found year-round in this oceanic climate zone. Because the wet Pacific winds meet the Andes Mountains as soon as they
Here already temperature lower in Puerto Montt, temperature range. If that was like close to in Santiago to 86, here it is maybe 55. I don't know. It is average. It looks like this. Yeah. And precipitation in inches, it is also different.
reach land, the air is pushed upward and cooled, leading to almost all of its moisture being deposited before passing into the desert of Patagonia on the other side. Consequently, southern Chile sees some of the highest rainfall in the world outside of the tropics, and this much rain leads to highly verdant conditions in the form of temperate rainforests of beech, laurel, cedar, and the national tree Araucaria, also known as the Chilean pine or monkey puzzle.
Monkey puzzle, national tree of Chile. I know that a lot of people like monkeys. Let's look. National tree of Chile. We can see monkey puzzle tree. That's what he was talking about right now. Araucana or monkey puzzle tree is the hardest of these species. It is a large, stately evergreen conifer native to the volcanic hills of the Andes Mountains in southern Chile and western Argentina. It is the national tree of Chile and thrives in maritime areas, with mild, cool climates. We can see picture of this tree, how it looks young when young monkey puzzle tree. because of these branches, we can see that's why it is probably named monkey, but still, yes, you can see a small one. It is already bigger one. Never saw such tree in my life. Never. Gosh, nature so interesting. And here you can see branch leaves. It's like from fantasy. Gosh. And another branch leaf. Leaves, many of them. Why it is named so? Maybe we can find a little bit more explanation. Gave rise to the common name. In Oregon State University, on the east side of the community hall, Benton Hall, also on the southern corner of our campus. You can find this. Okay. I have only, thank you Anonymous, I have only seen them in Washington State. I never saw them. I mean, like it is, they look so futuristic. I mean, monkey puzzle tree. Why it's named so? We can see climbing the spiny spiraling branches would be a puzzle even for a monkey. Because even for monkeys it will be that's even for a monkey it will be a puzzle. The common name of monkey puzzle was coined during the mid-1800s when Charles Austin, a noted barrister, on seeing the tree for the first time, commented that climbing the spiny, spiraling branches would be a puzzle even for a monkey. It makes sense. It makes sense why it is. Now I will think about Chile every time. They have this alcohol drink, pisco. They keep this pisco in these carrot bubbles, I don't know, jars. And about also national tree, which is named monkey puzzle tree. Gosh, it is fun. Okay, let's go.
In general, this region, so isolated from the rest of the world from similar climate types, is home to many species of plants and animals not found anywhere else. As we approach the southern tip of Chile, the land breaks up into an extensive array of fjords and islands, the results of past glaciations. In this region and in the higher ground within the previous zone, the oceanic climate gives way to a subpolar form of this climate of cool summers instead of warm, and eventually to a mild tundra climate where summer day-night temperatures remain below 10 Celsius, preventing the growth of trees, leading to a barren landscape of low-lying shrubs and grass. The word mild is used to describe this tundra climate not because it is especially pleasant, but to contrast it with the severe winters found in the traditional tundra of the
Punta Arenas temperature maybe 50 looks like, no, 10 Celsius. Precipitation not so high. Wow.
the Arctic. Here in Tierra del Fuego, the southernmost extent of South America, the ever-present ocean winds keep winter temperatures mostly above freezing. Such winds, known as the Roaring Forties and Furious Fifties, were the bane of any ship rounding the Horn, that is, traversing the waters at the extreme southern point of Chile and the continent of South America, Cape Horn. Prior to the building of the Panama Canal, any ship traveling from the Atlantic to the Pacific had to brave these treacherous waters, and the area has gone down in global maritime history as one of the most infamous. Last but not least, a word on Rapa Nui. The fascination of this, one of the most isolated inhabited islands in the world, and its pre-Columbian history of massive stoneheads, resource depletion, and ecological collapse would take up a video in itself. The Chileans call the island Isla de Pascua, literally Easter Island.
Yeah, let's look a little bit more, because it is also about history behind of Chile. I mean, about, yeah, it is fascinating. Let's close some links. Yeah, we found out today a lot of information about Chile already, and Stone Hedge, how it's named, I don't know. I don't know how to write this. In Chile. I hope that Stone Age. No, let's look. Papa Nui, Eastern Island. I see this. Let's look. Papa Nui. Stone in Chile. Rapa Nui. Okay. It will be not Papa but Rapa. Sorry. My mistakes. It is they're my medals. Because he said about them not so much. Google Classroom. Wow, I have Google Classroom. And here we can find these amazing old footages. Who liked old footages? Enjoy this view. You can see this amazing photo of this and when it was made. We can see 1914. Photo by Catherine Maria Routledge. 1914. This photo more than 100 years ago was made. More than 100 years ago. 1914, gosh. Eastern Island is famous for its stone statues of human figures known as moai, meaning statue, okay. The island is known to its inhabitants as Rapa Nui. The statues were probably carved to commemorate important ancestors and were made around 1000 CE. Until the second half of the 17th century, over a few hundred years, the inhabitants of this remote island quartz carved and erected around 887 statues. Yeah, 887 you find them. Probably it is only which people found. Maybe there are much more. Some of them it is one of only 14 moai made from basalt. The rest are carved from the island's softer volcanic tuff. And here you can see three of these statues. Gosh, it is very interesting. I would say stylish. Let's look more. Their backs to the sea. This example was probably first displayed outside on a stone platform on the sacred site of Oronga before being moved into a stone house at the ritual center of Oronga. It would have stood with the giant stone companions, their backs to the sea, keeping watch over the island. Its eyes sockets were originally inlaid with red stones and coral, and the sculpture was painted with red and white designs, which were washed off when it was to the ship to be taken to Europe 1869. We can see another dirty statue or to be lost. Yes, it is interesting, very fascinating. Some of these statues you can find in the museum already. This one in British Museum. In British Museum. Yes, quite fascinating. Later carving on the back, because I noticed that they have these carvings on backs. The figure's back is covered with ceremonial designs to have been added at a later date. Some carved in low relief, others incised. This shows images relating to the island's birdman cult, which developed after about 1400s CE. The key birdman cult ritual was an annual trial of strength and endurance, in which the chiefs of their followers competed. Okay, here we have, okay, let's continue, because I can stop sometimes too long on topic, because every topic, it doesn't matter what we are talking about, it is so fascinating. If we are talking about political side, it is fascinating. If we are talking about geographical side, like of Chile, I can stop like and I can forget about time completely, because it's all so fascinating, and history also important to us to just to notice. Why not? It is fascinating, and in UK you can find these stones in museum. They have own stone hedge or something in UK. Probably we will watch in future something about this too. Okay, let's go. But now I know their backs turned to the ocean. Yes, because they kind of see guardian island, a little like.
It was
place.
annexed by Chile in 1888 and is administered today as its own autonomous commune within the Valparaiso region. It is just over 3,500 kilometers from the mainland.
Gosh.
Chile's population at the time of this video is estimated at 18.5 million, making it the 66th most populous nation in the world.
66. We know, we already looked that right now it is 19.5 million, and this video was made 11 months ago, 1 year ago. that means that 18 millions, 1 million they gained for 1 year? Gosh, for 1 year, 1 million people arrived to Chile. Gosh.
Most of this population is found in the central part of Chile, from where the country expanded historically, with 40%, about 7 million people, living within the greater metro area of the capital Santiago. The second largest city is the historical port of Valparaiso.
Look at this shape of the city. Interesting. Valparaiso. Shape of the city, of course, here quite interesting. Obviously that there are a lot of mountains, under mountains. Wow. I see your message. Thank you for this. Easter Island is a very interesting place. Yes, it is very Easter Island. I want to look a little bit more about Easter Island, to be honest. Maybe we can find some information, because these stones located in Easter Island of Chile. Let's look. We can see another pictures of Ajo. They're like many, like as they said, 870 statues they found there. And obviously, like, gosh, we can find this information. Experts disagree on when the island's Polynesian inhabitants first reached the islands. While many in the research community cited evidence that they arrived around the year 800s, and 2007 study found compelling evidence that they arrived closer to 1200s. Yeah, you can find that the people trying to understand history behind when first time people arrived. And the name Easter Island was given by the island's first recorded European visitor, the Dutch explorer who encountered Jacob Roggeveen, I hope, who encountered it on Easter Sunday, 5th April. That's why it's named Easter Island, while searching for Davis Land. Yes. Spanish name Isla de Pascua also means Easter Island. Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. All of this makes sense. And total population on 2017, 7,750 people. Maybe we will be able to, I hope that one day we'll be able to travel around, and the view of the monuments of Eastern Island. It is picture. It is picture. Okay. It is amazing, amazing.
Just 90 minutes by road from the capital, and whose metro area numbers about 1 million in population, Concepcion, some 6 hours drive south, is the third largest city with just under 1 million. Although there is no official language within Chile, the de facto is Spanish, spoken by virtually all its inhabitants and used in official government documents. It is the result of its original foundation as a colony of Spain and the centuries of its establishment prior to the immigrants of other European countries settling here. The dialect is noticeably different from other countries within South America, perhaps due to its relative isolation of the preceding centuries, or the influence of significant numbers of later immigrants speaking different languages. Many Native American languages have survived, with the greatest number being that of the Mapuche people. Like all Latin American countries, the population of Chile is a mix of European and Amerindian.
Yeah, it is a mixture by population and colorful buildings. That's what you can find there. Colorful buildings, some of them yellow, some of them blue, white, brown, red, green roofs you can find here, just gray, and combination of these, and it is giving another vibe, and it is interesting for me. I can understand obviously why Chile increasing by population, like for 1 year 1 million people. Gosh, for such a small country, I mean, like, it is a lot.
What proportions self-identify as or are independently estimated to be white, meaning European-only descent, mestizo or mixed race, or Amerindian varies by survey, but the surveys suggest 50 to 60% as white, 30 to 40% mestizo, and less than 10% Amerindian. Chile's economy stands...
Yes, about economy, I need to move probably. You can see here a little bit different information. Per capita $17,000. But I was looking before, it was like 15,000. Even if, like, anyway, it's a little bit different. I was using maybe another resource. It is. Let's move my camera, global rank 59th. I want to show you what's behind me. You can find. Yes. You can see this picture. Copper exports 2020, 75 billions. Refined copper, and in case you can pause video and see economy of Chile. In such small gold, 1.21%. Fish fillets, 3. Grapes, 1.5. Wine, 2.45. What we have here too? Raw copper, yes. Iron, 2%. Sulfate chemical wood pulp, 2.8%. Apples and pears, close to 1%. Yes, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, you can see this economy in such graphic.
Stands out in many ways. With an estimated GDP in nominal terms of $310 billion in 2022, the country's economy ranks as the 45th largest in the world. Split among its relatively small population, this produces the highest GDP per capita in all of Latin America. It is one of the lowest tax economies within the OECD group of developed countries globally.
If we are talking about economy, let's look for price for apartments there. Maybe just to look for this. Price, like, okay, buy an apartment in Chile. Just curiosity. In Santiago, we can find these apartments in Santiago for $93,000. $100,000 probably this average will be, and you can find video and photos. Let's look photos. Oh, it is, I cannot open this in big scale. Small one. Okay, let's look video. It is open information, that's why. Let's make be without sound for $93,000 without sound. I don't know why so bad quality they have here, really bad quality of footage, but by itself apartment looks nice. Yes, it is one bedroom apartment, and you can see this view from yeah, they could do better footage for sure, but 34 square meters, it is one bedroom apartment. I think it is if you have $100,000, why not? I personally have nothing. I'm thinking in future because I want to live in America, obviously. By American standards, it's probably cheaper. Yes, maybe we will be able to find another. Or we will be able to see normal footage. Very interesting. Anyway, close. They're not opening this in big scale. Same by size. We will do a little bit different. We will be smarter. They have even gym in these apartments. From what kind of material? It how looks building itself. Okay, for $100,000 you can buy them. You can buy them one bedroom. Okay, $90,000. $90,000. One bedroom apartment, which will be 34 square meters. Okay, let's go. And view from, but it is not in this, it will be in not in new apartment. In new apartments, I believe there will be like $200,000, 300 without any limits. Example, in such skyscraper, it will be much more expensive, like probably millions dollars, I don't know.
And has consistently ranked as a business-friendly country while also having the lowest income inequality index within Latin America. The economy has grown rapidly since the start of the 1980s, being now 5 times larger than it was 4 decades ago.
Yeah.
In 1980, Chile introduced the world's first private national pension scheme, watched by many eyes within the developed world. For decades, the success of this scheme, which outperformed traditional state pension schemes in other nations, was seen as a model to follow. But in the last 15 years or so, the scheme has required reform as global yields within markets have reduced in that era of low interest rates. The largest sector within the Chilean economy is mining, with the world's largest reserves of copper located in the north of the country.
Yeah, we saw this before. These statistics you show this. Yeah, copper.
Chile
mining.
Produces almost a third of all the world's copper, is the largest producer of iodine, and the world's second highest in lithium and molybdenum. The Chilean mining industry made international news in 2010 when 33 miners were trapped almost a kilometer underground for 69 days. Despite incredible odds, all 33 were rescued, one at a time, within a specially made capsule hoisted through a borehole drilled from the surface. Fishing in the deep, rich waters of the Eastern Pacific is found in all inhabited coastal regions, with many fish exported. You've probably all seen Chilean sea bass on the menu somewhere. Agriculture within the central part of the country is an important sector, with the Mediterranean climate in this region favoring the growth of grapes. Chilean wines have become well respected and popular around the world. With a business-friendly environment, the service sector, and in particular finance, has grown substantially in recent decades to become a major sector within the economy. Another key service sector is tourism. Despite its remoteness from the world, the country, with its vast array of unspoilt habitats, attracts several million tourists each year. Chilean culture is, like all those of Latin America, a blend of European and Native American, with Spanish dominating the European and Mapuche the native side. Basque, German, British, Croatian, Arab, Palestinian, and French influences can be observed as a result.
An apartment that size in New York City would cost $1 million. I would be happy to have $1 million to buy an apartment in New York City. But of course it is like in New York City, it is a population example. If we will compare the population of New York City and Santiago of Chile. Let's compare. Yes, completely agree that New York City is expensive. It is quite expensive. For example, population of Santiago, Chile. Okay, my internet has problems. It can happen. I don't know what's happened, to be honest. Yes, it looks like I was disconnected, and it is sad if I was disconnected. Anyway, let's finish our live stream, because we did already a lot today, and I hope that you can see me well, you can hear me well. Yes, I was talking about what? I was talking about population of New York City and population of Santiago. Yes, I will finish this live stream probably by watching this video, and obviously that it is said that it was interrupted a little bit. Yes, this video left like 5 minutes, I don't know. Let's finish this, and it would be nice.
Result of later waves of immigration from their respective countries. Chile has had 2 Nobel Prize winners for literature, poets Pablo Neruda and Gabriela Mistral. Chile has also had a fair share of notable novelists, including José Donoso and Isabel Allende. In cinema, Alejandro Jodorowsky established a cult following with his avant-garde works in the 1960s and 70s, including a 14-hour epic screenplay of Frank Herbert's classic sci-fi Dune that was never made. Chile's most internationally famous star, however, is probably Pedro Pascal, notable for his role in Game of Thrones and the lead in The Mandalorian and Narcos. The Atacama Desert is not only the source of Chile's greatest wealth in the form of mines, but it is the site of one of the world's greatest scientific riches. The constantly cloudless sky, coupled with very stable atmosphere, no nearby light pollution from cities, and high altitude, make this location possibly the best in the world for astronomical observations.
Yeah.
And so it is here that we find the largest number of modern world-class telescopes, operated by international and domestic scientific institutions. Chile's greatest cultural treasure is, in my opinion, the beauty and diversity of the country's nature. That said, I believe that a special mention should be made of the UNESCO World Heritage Site of the historic quarter of Valparaiso. The architecture in this area is unlike any other, demonstrating the fusion of European cultures that participated in the port's growth in the late 19th century, and in microcosm could represent the story of this, the most remote of all continental nations. And that's Chile. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of its history, geography, economy and culture. Please like and share this video if you enjoyed it or found it useful, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments, especially if you're from this country and if I missed out anything that you feel is important. If you haven't already done so, then please click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss future episodes. You can also support future development of this channel by becoming a Patreon supporter.
Yeah, for me it was amazingly interesting video. Yes, I like this. It was my attempt to try to understand a little bit more about Chile. I was interrupted because connection was not so good, and I hope that you enjoyed this live stream. I enjoyed a lot because right now I need to go to do some stuff. I would be happy to do this live stream much longer, but because I need to do some things, I need to go. And anyway, I enjoyed a lot. It was a really cool video. I like his explanations. I like that he was objective, and it was enjoyable for me by all means. I found a lot about political, about history, geography, economy, and culture of Chile. Never was studying Chile while I was in Russia. Never was talking about Chile while I was in Russia. Here in America, it makes sense to study for me because I hope that in future in my profession it will be useful to know, because I hope that I will study in University of Houston in political science, and such cultural exchange between, I'm sure that a cultural exchange between America and Chile quite strong, and it is amazing, fantastic. And yes, as for now, thank you all of you for your support. I appreciate this a lot. Thank you a lot for your comments. Thank you a lot for everything what you are doing for me. You can leave your likes. We will be online. I don't know when. Probably tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe today. I don't know. Anyway, I'm hugging you. You're amazing. Let's continue our journey and try to understand a little bit more about other cultures and about other about other sides of different countries. And yes, you're amazing. Wishing you all of the best. And as always, hugging you. You're wonderful. And as always, see you next time.